celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team, veterinarian Dr. Debbie White and groomer Joey Villani. And here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
Well, Judy is screening your calls toll-free directly from the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. On today's show, I'm telling you, we have a 9-year-old hero. I love it.
Wow.
When they start this young, it just warms the cockles of my heart. I'll tell you that right now.
She was raised right.
And she'll be joining us in just a couple of minutes. I don't want to tell you exactly what she's done yet because I want you to stick around. It's called a tease.
Not even a little tease. Nothing.
Not even a little.
No hints.
Not
Nothing.
even a little morsel or anything like that. I will tell you. I will give you a tease here. Pamela Paquin. Is that how?
I'm not sure if it's Paquin.
She'll be joining us in just a few minutes. We'll find out how to pronounce her name, and then of course I'll slaughter it.
Of course.
After learning how to pronounce it. And she makes clothing, but a special sort of clothing. She takes roadkill. She finds roadkill, and she makes it into...
She uses the fur.
Top-of-the-line clothing.
Yes.
That sells for like $1,000 a piece, some of these.
I know.
You want to stick around for that, don't you?
Oh,
I do.
yeah, I do.
That's certainly intriguing. Let's take your calls toll-free for Dr. Debbie or dog father Joey Villani. Speaking of which, Joey, what do you got on today's show?
Well, we're going to talk about, how to take away that irritation that your dog sometimes gets from the groomer.
Like that razor burn type of stuff?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, maybe I should have elaborated on it because irritation could mean that your dog just irritated being at the groomer. Yeah. But skin irritation, when a dog gets clipped too close. I'm in grooming mode here, so, I know what I'm thinking, but I forget that sometimes I got to project it out a little bit better.
Hey, Marcy.
Hi.
Where are you calling from today?
West Reading, PA.
Oh, okay. Listening on WEEU, perhaps?
Yes, I am.
Love that station. So how can we help you?
Okay, I have a cat that's 17 years old.
Wow.
He's having trouble with constipation right now.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes he walks around the house and he'll drip a little bit all over when he's walking. But he can't seem to go any more than that.
Okay. And what does the stool look like? Is it solid or is it runny?
No. Well, when he drips a little like diarrhea, and that's runny. But he might go in his litter box, and that's a hard solid. It's like very hard when he does go, and he like. How would you describe it? He likes strains to try to go.
Okay. Yeah. And how often does he poop? Is it once a day, every other day?
No, it's like every 3 days, I would think.
Okay. Well, we need to get this guy some relief then, definitely. And it is very common in older kitties, and older kitties being really in the teens and up, that they can suffer some problems with constipation. And the things that I hear from cat owners, some people will describe a cat that passes very large and dry stool. And then there are other cats that will have a varying consistency, and it's kind of gross talking poo on the air, but some cats will have a liquidy, almost like a diarrhea component, and then later go on and struggle and pass a very large, maybe even oversized stool.
Right.
So both of those kind of things can still be constipation, and it can happen for a lot of reasons in an older kitty. They often can have subclinical dehydration. So as cats get older, they don't drink as much. They can also have other health conditions that kind of dehydrate them as well. So kidney disease, chronic kidney disease is a very common cause of dehydration and constipation in older kitties. And then we also run into problems where they'll have arthritis or maybe some problems with the lower spine function, and they can retain their stool longer. So all of those things being said, a cat that's pooping every 3 days needs help. We want to see this kitty pooping every day.
Okay,
and
good.
So the first thing I always do is I always like to do a full exam and make sure we do some lab work and see if we have some health problem we need to address, like kidney disease. Because for kidney disease, some simple steps like some of the therapeutic prescription diets can be very helpful in restoring their fluid balance as well as improve the stool quality. So that's one big thing. And also if a cat needs fluids, sometimes I'll have owners give that at home if it's not too bad, and they can give fluids just to kind of help the kitty stay hydrated. So that's a really important thing, because there's there's very little we can give a cat to make them poop if they're dehydrated like a little prune inside. So that's definitely number one that we have to look at. But from there, once we've done all of those things, then I actually am a fan of Miralax. It's a human product. In the GI aisle, just over the counter at your pharmacy. Mm-hmm. And for older kitties, I like to give that usually twice a day. And for some cats, they may not have really bad problems with their stools, but if they're noticing the decreasing or increasing the lengthening duration between when they're having stools, then Miralax could be a really big lifesaver for them. And I'll use anywhere from maybe a quarter to an eighth of a teaspoon twice a day, just to start off, and then kind of work our way up from there.
Okay. We did try Miralax. It did work a little bit. So far, he's still not going it every day, though.
Okay.
We haven't been measuring it, so I think if we measure it, maybe we'll find out we're not giving him enough.
Yeah, and like I said, if you haven't seen the veterinarian recently, there may be some things they can throw in as well to help him out and just to get his hydration better. But for any kitty, when we're constipated, I want to encourage them to drink. And they're kind of like horses. You can take them to a water bowl, but you can't always make them drink.
Right.
So the ways to sneak it in would be to either feed exclusively canned food, great hydration. Over 75% of canned food is water, so that's a great thing. You can water down dry food. Kitty water fountains can be a great thing if the kitty likes the moving water and it encourages them to drink. And if we don't have other health problems, sometimes I'll even use a little bit of chicken broth just to kind of increase the water intake. And they sometimes like the taste of that a little bit.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right. Well, best wishes with your kitty there, and I hope he's pooping better soon.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Hi, Judy.
Hi, how are you?
Doing good. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you.
How can we help you? I got the great Dr. Debbie right here.
Oh, good. I have a 2-year-old English bulldog, and she has a red mange, and I've been treating her with the Promaris. It's a tick and flea medicine.
Okay.
And I was wondering if there's any other like a natural way without medication for treating her for this.
Well, there's definitely the most natural thing for red mange is actually to do nothing. And that sounds horrible. Red mange.
But then she gets all red and then her hair falls off.
Okay, so obviously that's not a good solution for you. And I say that's partly jokingly, but red mange, which is actually Demodex mites, in many cases will go away on its own. So in about 30 to 50% of cases, it'll go away on its own. If it doesn't, we really have to address other underlying causes. And it's basically a type of mite that can be passed with heredity. And it also is affected... Yeah, exactly, from her mama. And it's also influenced very much by the pet's own immune system and their own ability to clear that. So for pets that have more generalized problem or more chronic problems, we really have to look at focusing on all those other ways that we can improve their overall immune status. So for female dogs, if she's not already spayed, she needs to be spayed because the hormones You did that already. Super.
Yes, I did that a long time ago.
Great. Good. Now, for some pets, if we're not getting good control with something like Promaris, not everyone has super results with that. And in many cases, we'll use that every 2 weeks to every month to help treat the demodectic mange. And if that doesn't do it on its own, don't feel bad. In many cases, we'll have to add in other things. Now, in your question to natural remedies, probably not anything simple that's going to treat the mange by itself, but more to kind of support her immune status. So I would really look at other things, whether we need to use something like ivermectin along with the Promaris. For some pets, we can try a medication interceptor, which is a different flea tick medicine, and that might be of some use. But we also want to look at this immune support. And so sometimes things like probiotics, which can help support the immune health of the gut. That can be very important. And then also making sure we're looking for other disease processes in the body. We test for thyroid disease. We test the blood for other issues that might be present and then treat those because that will have an effect of improving the immune support of the body. And then thereby helping the red mange. So it's kind of more of a cascading effect of all these other things that can influence the pet with the red mange. And the other thing is that many times with a lot of different types of mange, they have bacterial infections in the skin. So we have to get them on courses of that to treat the secondary effects of all that. So has that kind of been your battle cry of what's been going on here?
Well, my thing is I give her the Promaris, and I only give it to her probably every 3 to 4 months.
Every 3 to 4 months is definitely not frequent enough to effectively treat the mite. So if that's the purpose, is to treat the mite, you're not getting anywhere close to that. You're treating more for fleas and ticks with that.
Well, what I noticed is when I give it to her, it's when she barely starts to turn the pink, where I could barely start seeing it. So then as soon as I give it to her, she's fine for another 3 to 4 months. So it's like I can see it coming on, but I didn't want to give it to her so much because it smells horrible, and I didn't know if it could cause any damage to her also.
Yeah, and definitely I understand all of those concerns, and we don't like to use products if we don't have to, but if you're only using it partially of what it's just prescribed for, then we're only doing her part of the good. And this isn't unusual. Okay. We see this with ear infections and skin conditions in dogs, that if you only do things for a short period of time and don't follow it through as prescribed, you're going to have relapses of problems. And that, I think, is what you're probably dealing with here. So before I'd say you're having a failure of Promaris not controlling this, I'd say we want to make sure you're being diligent on following those instructions by your veterinarian, and then perhaps doing these other things, looking at other underlying immune problems, and then maybe adding in a secondary medication such as oral ivermectin, which we can use along with that.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hi, this is Joy Behar on Animal Radio. Please spay and neuter your pets.
How would you like to save money on nearly all your prescription drugs? We've set up a special toll-free number for the RX Outreach Program. They're a nonprofit company whose mission it is to make prescription drugs more affordable to the masses. They don't take insurance, and in many cases, your prescriptions are even cheaper than your co-pays. They carry thousands of different prescription drugs, so whatever you're taking, there's a good chance they have it. No coupons are required, and this is not a discount card. It is pure savings on your prescription drugs. They specialize in generic meds for any chronic health needs you have. Call with your prescription and find out for free how little you can pay for your prescription drugs. Remember, we don't take insurance, so call right now.
800-689-0143. 800-689-0143. 800-689-0143. That's 800-689-0143.
Hi, this is Justin Silver from CBS's Dogs in the City here on Animal Radio, just reminding you to always stay and neuter your pets.
Saturday in the park. That sounds like a good idea. Maybe after the show we'll get out to the park. Thank you, Chicago, for that suggestion. Chicago also loves animals, has a lot of animals, lizards, and mostly chihuahuas. So are we going to the phones?
Yes,
Is that what we're doing there? I'm sorry. I guess I got to hit that line on over there. And we have Bill. Hey, Bill, save me.
Hello.
How are you doing? Where are you calling from today?
Sarasota, Florida.
Oh, well, thank you. Are you listening on WSRQ?
Yes, I do.
I love that station down there. So what's going on? I got the whole team here for you.
Oh, great. Well, I have a cat that's 16 years plus, will be 17.
Wow.
Yeah, he's doing well. However, a year ago last fall, he was in at the veterinarians and got a couple of shots of feline leukemia and distemper. He didn't do very well with them. I had to take him to another vet for an examination, and they did a blood workup, and I had to inject him because he had gotten a little dehydrated. And the veterinarian at the time said, don't give him any more shots. And so recently, back before Christmas, I received a reminder card, saying that he's due now for, I believe it is the FVRCP and the feline leukemia shot. And I got thinking, gosh, he didn't do well last time, and what the veterinarian had said to me, and I really got hesitant, so I haven't followed up and given him any more shots. And I started to read online, and so I started thinking about, what's the duration of immunity with some of these things, and are we over-inoculating our poor friends?
And you're bringing up a lot of great points here, Bill. And congratulations, first of all, to have a kitty of that age. That is phenomenal. You've been doing a very good job to see your kitty to those golden years. So,
well, thank you.
So a couple things. First, we have an older kitty who after vaccinations has felt ill, run down, needed hospital care. So the question first that I think a lot of the listeners might say is, oh my gosh, these vaccines make my cat sick. And the thing I like to point out in these situations is it isn't necessarily the vaccines that make the pet sick, but we have an older kitty that typically there are a lot of other health concerns that are just kind of under the radar. Some we may know about, some we may not. And when we challenge the immune system with vaccination, we kind of take the body's energy away from dealing with those issues or problems, and then they can suffer a setback. So for me, I'm going to say I disagree with your vet completely, and all due respect. For me, an older kitty of 16 to 17, I see no reason to vaccinate them. There are generally other things that I would rather spend my client's dollar and address for the pet's health more so than vaccinations. And this is a strategy. There's no absolute kind of black and white line when we start to really talk about this, but for me, when I have a double-digit kitty, that's when I start to say, okay, let's individualize. Let's make sure we're addressing what's best for your cat and not just what we say, this is on a list of all the vaccines that are potentially possible, and really make a kind of a thoughtful decision on that. Because the other question you brought up is, what's the duration of immunity with a lot of vaccinations? And for many vaccines, they last anywhere from 3 to 7 years. And I can't make an argument at all to give feline leukemia to a cat of that age, because unless we're in a super high risk, there's usually a very good immunity that they have after many years even of this vaccination. So I would say, I'd skip the vaccinations and really address what else we can do to help your older kitty. But certainly it sounds like, Bill, you've done a super job. What's your kitty's name?
Well, it's kind of different. It's Pud, P-U-D. He's just called Pud.
Like Putty Cat.
Yes, that's right. So at any rate, he goes out, but he's always been tethered, so he's just kind of in a courtyard at times or just on the back porch. But I do take him for a daily walk just around the properties. He's not an outside cat per se, but he does get out. And so, but I think I probably should give him a rabies shot when that comes due. Do you feel that would be appropriate?
Well, rabies is required by law, and that too, a veterinarian can't say, don't give the rabies, but there are health reasons sometimes where we might not want to vaccinate, and I think we'd have to know more, about your kitty's specific health. If giving a vaccine is going to make some other health problem come to the surface, if you're keeping your kitty on a leash, the risk is pretty low of encountering a wild animal or a bat or something like that. So, but the thing I would want to stress is, and we're talking about older kitties and what shots they do or don't need. The number one thing that I would want cat owners to do is to make sure they still get in for that regular veterinary exam, because even if we're saying, you may not need those vaccinations, it is so important after they get over 7 to 10 years of age that you get into the vet clinic, because there's a lot of things that the veterinarian can get from a physical exam, problems we may need to address, small conditions that might need some special dietary care, and really kind of getting ahead of problems before they cause a more significant problem for the kitty.
Yes, I do that. He goes in twice a year, and I have him do the blood panel at that time as well, just to see
Very good.
If there's anything happening that we might catch before he finally ends his life, to try and keep him the best I can. So anyway, That's kind of what I'm doing, and I thank you very much. I don't think there's anything else that needs to be added. I will stay away from vaccinating him and just keep going into the veterinarian on a regular basis.
Very good. Well, best wishes for you and your kitty there.
Thanks, Bill, for your call. Great question, by the way, there. Always have questions about vaccinations. By the way, Dr. Debbie, if you want to pick up her books, Yorkshire Terriers, Shih Tzus, Pugs, or Mini Schnauzers, How to Be Your Dog's Best Friend, they are available at Kindle at Amazon, and we have links over at animalradio.com. If you own one of these, or let's say they own you, you'll want to pick up this Guardian's Manual.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
How would you like to get a free smartphone? If you own a smartphone, listen to this incredible offer that's almost too good to be true. Right now, you can switch your plan and get service with us for as little as $2 a day. Guaranteed for life. Plus, get a free smartphone every year. Call the free smartphone hotline now and we'll move your number from your existing service. Think of your savings. So don't wait. Switch your plan, save money, plus get a free smartphone every year. Call the free smartphone hotline right now. We guarantee you're going to love our service. If you don't like what we say, you can hang up on us. But you won't. Right now, you can switch your plan and get service with us for as little as $2 a day. Guaranteed for life. Call the free smartphone hotline right now. 800-475-3351. 800-475-3351. 800-475-3351. That's 800-475-3351.
Hi, this is Joyce DeWitt on Animal Radio. Please spay and neuter your animals. Thank you.
This is an Animal Radio News Update. I'm Tammy Trujillo. 23 dogs have been rescued from a totally unthinkable fate. Now, these dogs are mostly Korean Jindos, and they were rescued from a farm in Seoul, South Korea, where they were being raised, get this, as food. The farmer agreed to surrender the dogs and stop raising dogs for meat. They were rescued by the Humane Society International and taken to the Animal Welfare League in Alexandria, Virginia, to be evaluated and checked out by vets. The dogs have now been sent to shelters throughout the Northeast to be adopted. HSI has an ongoing campaign in Asia to rescue dogs from meat farms and to help dog meat farmers transition to other kinds of farming. Hopefully one more acceptable. This is the first group of dogs HSI has been able to bring to the United States through the campaign, and hopefully it will not be the last. Well, everybody's probably seen those campaigns to send cards or letters to a sick child. Well, 16-year-old Anthony Lyons wanted something different. He wanted photos of dogs, and he's now gotten over 500,000 of them. Anthony is undergoing chemotherapy for leukemia at Phoenix Children's Hospital in Arizona. The hospital has therapy dogs that come in on certain days, but if the days the dogs don't come to visit, a family friend created a Facebook page to help make Anthony smile, and that page has taken off. The page is Photo Doggies for Anthony, and it's attracted photos and well wishes from people all over the world. Well, the next time you go to the dog park, you're likely going to hear someone calling for Max or Bella. Those are the top two names bestowed on puppies. VetStreet.com says other popular names for boy dogs after Max were Charlie, Rocky, Buddy, and Cooper. And while Bella was the number one name for girl dogs, Lucy, Sadie, Molly, and Lola rounded out the top five. Rover.com says there was a 37% increase in food-themed names for dogs like Coconut, Ginger, Kale, Peanut, Guinness, Vino, Mochi, and Whiskey, and a 78% increase in nature-related names, including Lightning, Clover, Moose, and Panda. And let's not forget the more techie dog names out there. There are dogs running among us named Google, Siri, Tesla, and Pixel. I'm Tammy Trujillo. Get more breaking animal news anytime at animalradio.com. This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
Hey, it's Vinny Penn, your resident party animal, coming at you again on Animal Radio. I wanted to bring something up to you. This could draw the ire of some of you Animal Radio listeners, but sometimes I do like to push your buttons. I think you know that by now. I was at a raging party last night. Just a great, great time. And at one point, everybody was having a great time, and it was a group of people who don't get together very often. And at one point, one of our old friends of ours, she said, well, it's time for me to go. I got to let the dog out. You know how it is. Got to get home and let the dog out. And we're just thinking, I had 2 dogs in my life. I never had to leave somewhere to let the dog out. I mean, we don't want to persecute the dogs, but then again, none of us are going to 12-hour-long parties either. This party was roughly going to be 4 to 5 hours. From my recollection of my 2 dogs, Rocky and Cruiser. Rocky, of course, being short for rock and roll. we were pretty much on the same bowel movement schedule, I might dare I say, when it comes to me and my dogs. So I'm starting to think, we looked at each other after she left, and my buddy Tommy and I were like, that's the out. That's a girl, that's a dog owner's I got to wash my hair out. That's her way of saying, okay, this party sucks. You guys are getting drunk and stupid as usual. Ooh, the dog. I got to let the dog out. Poor thing. Home alone. Leaving a party to quote-unquote let the dog out is the dog owner's equivalent of, I just don't think of you that way. Vinny Pet, Party Animal on Animal Radio.
Hey, y'all, it's Lisa Matassa, and you're listening to Animal Radio.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
It's Animal Radio. Brand new stations. Gotta welcome WRMZ in Dothan, Alabama, and KRLY in East County, San Diego, Alpine.
Wow. Cool.
Great new stations to have on board, and of course now we have a gazillion.
I was going to say a billion, but gazillion
trillion
sounds
stations.
Right. Sure.
Pretty much something like that. So welcome, guys. If you want to call and speak to the team, we're here. If you just want to check in and say, hey, what's up? And if you're new, we do this segment every week called The Hero Person, because I don't think the people that really take care of the animals get acknowledged.
Yeah, these people that are behind the scenes, they do a lot of work and just go unrecognized.
They work really hard.
Yes. Put in a lot of time and a lot of their own money.
You're like that, Tammy. Not a lot of people know this, but you foster.
We do, and a lot of them are special needs, so they take a lot of extra work.
God bless you. That is amazing what you do. And you do a radio show, too. So it's just, it is, how you divide your time is amazing.
You know what? They give it back in spades. They give it
really
back in love and affection. They do. So it's not work at all, really. But it is at the same time.
Yep. Well, we'd like to celebrate those unsung heroes with the hero. And if you have somebody that's in your town, a hero, nominate them by sending us an email to yourvoice@animalradio.com. Hi, Orly.
Hi.
I'm welcoming Orly. Can you pronounce your last name for me?
Sedransk.
You're 9 years old, right?
Yes.
Well, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Well, tell us about the animals you have at home.
I have 2 dogs.
2 dogs? What kind?
One a Labradoodle, but we don't really know what the other kind is because she's a rescue, so...
They're the best kind, those mutts. They live a long time, and they're really healthy. You know that, right?
Yeah.
So, I understand you live in Montclair. Is that, where is that? What state is that in?
New Jersey.
Jersey.
Well, that was right next to where I grew up, guys.
Oh, wow.
I grew up in
Really?
Clifton.
Oh.
You know where Clifton is?
Yeah.
Well, the Montclair Animal Shelter, you went there, visited, and you saw that there was a bunch of animals there, didn't you?
Yeah, there's a lot.
How did it make you feel?
Sad, sort of.
What did you do? You were so sad you actually decided to do something, didn't you?
Yeah.
What was it?
So I did a 50-50 raffle upon family and friends.
A 50-50 raffle. I don't know what that is. What is that?
It's when you can sell stuff, but I didn't sell stuff. So I had tickets, and it was $2 per ticket. And then one day, I put all the tickets in a bucket, and family bought tickets for $2. And then at the end, I put the tickets in a bucket, and I picked a name out of the bucket, and it said a name. And then they won half the money I raised for the animal shelter, and then the rest of the money went to the animal shelter. But they decided to give the money back.
Wow.
So
Why did they do that?
Because, they felt bad for the animals, so, they gave back the money so I could have more money to buy stuff. So they needed cat cages, and then I bought cat cages for them with the money.
Wow, that's great. So how many cat cages did you get?
We got, I think, 5, and then they, hold 3 cats in each. Well, I could hold more, but there's 3 floors of the cage.
So how much money did you raise?
$511.
Holy moly.
Wow.
Was that all just from family?
No, friends too.
Well, that's great. Are you going to do that again ever?
I want to. I want to I want to do another thing, but I'm still thinking about what to do. Like, I don't want to do, like, the same thing again and again.
No, of course not. You want to keep it fresh, don't you?
Yeah. Get more people, new people involved.
Yeah, and I volunteer there every weekend.
Oh, you do? What do you do down there?
Usually I go with my dad, and we walk the dogs there.
That sounds like fun. Would you encourage other peers, people your age, to go do this?
I mean, I'm trying. I'm doing a towel drive in my class to have people bring towels or blankets for the shelter.
Towel drive. That was in a little bit of a Jersey accent you had there. A towel drive. So you're asking the kids in the class to bring in towels that they can use down at the shelter?
Yeah.
Oh, that is so cool. I just want to give you a big old hug. Did you know that you're our hero this week?
I am.
Yes, you are. We have a hero award, and we'd like to praise the unsung heroes, the people that are doing great things for animals. And today, you're our hero for what you're doing down there at the Montclair Animal Shelter.
Thank you.
So what do you want to do when you grow up?
I want to be a doctor, like maybe a vet or like just a doctor, like
a human doctor or a doctor for animals.
I think maybe a doctor for animals.
Yeah, we have one right here. What do you think, Doc? Do you think this is a good career to go into?
You know, I think her upbringing and what her interests are sounds so similar to where I was. The volunteering, the doing things every week with animals and just trying to make a difference. For your age, that's immense. So she's going to go somewhere. She's going to do really good things, whether you are working on people or animals. So congratulations.
Remember that name, because you're going to hear this name more.
Orly. That's a pretty name. I like that.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for spending time with us this week. We had so much fun.
You're welcome.
Will you go to your dogs and go give them a big old hug from all of us, okay?
Okay.
Thanks. Have a great day, okay?
You too.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Isn't that just adorable?
She's so cute.
Well, she's a Jersey girl. Come on.
How would you like to save money on nearly all your prescription drugs? We've set up a special toll-free number for the RX Outreach Program. They're a nonprofit company whose mission it is to make prescription drugs more affordable to the masses. They don't take insurance, and in many cases, your prescriptions are even cheaper than your co-pays. They carry thousands of different prescription drugs, so whatever you're taking, there's a good chance they have it. No coupons are required, and this is not a discount card. It is pure savings on your prescription drugs. They specialize in generic meds for any chronic health needs you have. Call with your prescription and find out for free how little you can pay for your prescription drugs. Remember, we don't take insurance, so call right now.
800-689-0143. 800-689-0143. 800-689-0143. That's 800-689-0143.
Check out Animal Radio highlights, all the good stuff without the blah, blah, blah. Browse on over to animalradio.pet.
Dogs or cats, horse or emu, animals are people too.
Everybody loves a practical joker. At least that's what Philip Ray Hornell thought. Hornell, a sheep shearer in New Zealand, thought he'd play a little joke on his neighbor. Hornell had been drinking with friends when he decided to herd some sheep into a neighbor's house. But that neighbor didn't think it was so funny. Hornell was convicted on willful damage charges with evidence that the homeowner had to replace carpeting in 4 rooms. The judge said it was about time Hornell grew up and understood the consequences of his action. Hornell was ordered to pay $795 in reparation and $130 in court costs. It's worth noting that 2 weeks earlier, Hornell was ordered to pay $9 in reparation for stealing 6 pies from a discount store.
I'm Britt Savage for Animal Radio. Animals are people too. Animal Radio.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Here's Hal and Judy.
Poor Judy, she's a little sick today. A little bit nasally.
I'm just spacey. Yeah, I do.
So you can expect we'll all have it next week.
But I'll be feeling better then.
You'll have to
That'll be good.
take care of all of us.
Oh, no.
Tammy, what are you working on over there in the newsroom?
I've got a story that's kind of hard to take, but it has a really great ending. There are some dogs that are here in the United States, and they're going to their new homes, and that's the fun part. They were rescued from ending up on somebody's dinner plate.
You gotta love that. I can't believe people are still eating
Neither,
dogs.
But
like dogs, yeah.
They actually were on a farm where they raised dogs for that exact purpose, if you can believe that.
Unbelievable. No, I can't
Yep,
believe
but
that.
but they're safe. They're safe, and they're getting new homes. So and it's just the first of many. Let's hope.
Okay, that's a great story that's on the way. Also, this hour we're talking to Pamela. She makes Roadkill clothing and sells it for about $1,000 a piece.
People wear it.
Yeah, which is strange.
I got to check this out.
Yeah, here, check this picture out.
That's something.
Let's see. We're going to go back to the phones. Hi, Randy.
Hi, how you guys doing?
Doing good. What's going on with your corgi?
Well, I was out walking Bridget the other day, and a fella came up and started talking to me about the herding class dogs. And he said that I should be aware that there is a gene mutation called the MDR1 gene mutation. And I was wondering if Dr. Debbie would know anything about that.
Yeah, certainly. And it is a type of genetic problem that we do see primarily in the herding breeds. And I don't believe that the Corgi is actually one of the breeds that we've seen this in. But it does surprisingly show up in mixed breeds. So it is something for people to be aware of. The MDR1 gene is basically a mutation in a gene that helps to process different drugs and to kind of excrete them out of the brain area. When they don't have this proper gene in action, we can see drug toxicities causing neurologic problems and, in worst case scenarios, even death. Australian Shepherds, Border Collies, there are even some German Shepherds that have this type of gene, Shelties, all of the kind of herding breeds. And I do know that there was a little hubbub going around in the Corgi breed before with concerns that they had this, and it really hasn't been documented. The lab that tests for this gene is actually Washington State, and even on their website they have a list of different breeds that this has been found in, and Corgi is certainly not on that list at this time. But it is, like I said, it is important for all pet owners to really be aware of, because when you prescribe drugs, you want to do things safely. So we want to make sure that we know that there's certain drugs that some pets cannot tolerate. And the drugs we kind of talk about with this MDR1 gene tend to be things like ivermectin, which is a very common heartworm medication. It's also used to treat problems like skin mites and some other kind of skin conditions. So it's usually not a problem for the heartworm dose of the ivermectin, but more so for the mite problems. But other things like sedatives, Imodium is a problem for these breeds, so it's pretty widespread. And in fact, I think 3 out of 4 collies have this mutant gene, so it is something to be aware of and have screened for. Now, were you having concerns with your Corgi in particular, or are you just kind of checking the hype that was going around the dog park?
I was just checking the hype at the dog park, because it just, he came up with that, and I'm going, well, he said ivermectin, and I go, well, that's exactly what Bridget is on, is ivermectin-based stuff, and he said, be very careful with that, and I'm going, holy cow, maybe I should go ahead and get her tested.
Yeah. Now, in even some of the different resources, these labs that test for this gene, it has been extensively tested, and the doses that are used in the regular monthly heartworm preventatives of ivermectin are not a problem for the herding breeds, even those with this gene. So it's not something to create mass panic about, but to be aware of, because, I've had dogs, German Shepherds, where I've put them under for anesthesia, and boy, they wouldn't wake up at the end of the day. And they were very excessively sedated. And there are some tranquilizers that we use for anesthesia that it would have been great to know that this dog had this gene, so I could have altered the dosage of this and let that doggy, not sleep over in the hospital that night and be able to walk home easily. So yeah, it is something to really be aware of. And but I think you're probably okay. But share that certainly with your friends that have herding breeds or mixed breeds. And this might be a great reason why we do genetic testing. Find out what breed your dog is, because this is a condition that if your dog is a mixed breed, herding breed, we really ought to be testing for this, especially before we use certain drugs. So. Thank you so much for your call, Randy. That brings up a very great point that a lot of people really just need to hear about. So we appreciate your call. This is Dr. Debbie with Animal Radio.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
How would you like to get a free smartphone? If you own a smartphone, listen to this incredible offer that's almost too good to be true. Right now, you can switch your plan and get service with us for as little as $2 a day. Guaranteed for life. Plus, get a free smartphone every year. Call the free smartphone hotline now and we'll move your number from your existing service. Think of your savings. So don't wait. Switch your plan, save money, plus get a free smartphone every year. Call the free smartphone hotline right now. We guarantee you're going to love our service. If you don't like what we say, you can hang up on us. But you won't. Right now, you can switch your plan and get service with us for as little as $2 a day. Guaranteed for life. Call the free smartphone hotline right now. 800-475-3351. 800-475-3351. 800-475-3351. That's 800-475-3351.
Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team, veterinarian Dr. Debbie White and groomer Joey Villani. And here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
Oh, poor Judy. Poor Judy.
She's sick as a dog.
She is sick as a dog.
But hey, I'm here.
Yep.
I made it.
Yes, you are. And you're doing a great job, and I know you don't feel good, so you deserve a big round of applause.
She
here,
really does.
Oh, thank you.
After this, I'm going to make you some chicken soup.
Oh, thank you.
You better.
I won't actually make it. I'll just buy some. But
you'll open a can.
Yeah,
but
I'll
that's
open a
okay.
can for you.
Yeah, well.
Thank you. It's still a thought that counts.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, Tammy, what are you working on in the old newsroom there?
I have got the story of this fantastic dog named Kai that somebody abandoned at a railway station, complete with a suitcase full of his belongings. It is the saddest story in the world, but there's a really happy ending, too.
I love happy endings.
Definitely.
Me too.
Let's go to the...
Okay.
I mean, who doesn't, really? Dog Father Joey Villani and Dr. Debbie here to answer your questions.
You're so red, Hal.
Which one are we going to?
Line 3.
Okay. Hi, Denise. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine, thank you. How about you all?
Good. Where are you?
Great.
I'm in Pennsylvania.
Beautiful Pennsylvania. Where?
In Wilmersdorf, Pennsylvania. It's about halfway between Philly and Harrisburg.
Okay. Are you listening on XM or any one of our affiliate stations?
I'm listening on WEEU.
EEU in Reading, Pennsylvania. Well,
Correct.
thank you very much for doing that. Dr. Debbie's here.
Yes.
Well, hi.
Hi. Have you ever heard of anything like this? I have a German Jack Shepherd Russell. He's approximately 10 years old, and I took him outside. I got home from a babysitting job, took him outside. He seemed fine. He walked around, did his stuff, came back inside. We sat for about 2 hours, went back out again for the last time for the night, and had a terrible time trying to get him up out of his kennel. He would not get up, and when he did, he was limping, holding one paw up, and that went on for about 2 days, and I finally said, what am I doing different? And I thought of what I had started giving him on Friday, and I stopped giving that to him, and by the following Thursday, he was back to his old power-pulling self, and what I was giving him was a popular name brand bone treat, type cookie with glucosamine chondroitin in it.
Okay.
So it made him practically lame.
I don't know. I have a hard time making that conclusion. The way that we can test that very easily, feed that to your dog for 2 days and let's see if he limbs. Because my bet, and I'm from Vegas, and I'm betting today, man, my bet is that it's not related to that. And it could very well be just a soft tissue injury. The other thing would be, in a 10-year-old dog, we have the potential for arthritis. Glucosamine is actually very useful to help treat osteoarthritis and pain related to that. So it's really not something I can make a connection saying that treat likely caused a limping problem. And but like I said, the best way to test that theory is to give that to him for 2 days, see if that limping resumes.
That's what I did. And he's back to his power pull himself since I stopped giving it to him.
Right, but what I would suggest is challenge him again and give him that treat. If you've discontinued it and you think the limping is gone, give it to him again. The chances are it was probably some soft tissue injury, and it was going to improve on its own no matter what we did. Whether we used some holistic therapy or we took a chicken and rolled it over his head or whatever. So yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with that, but. You can always test and
There's
try
one way
it
to
out.
find out. Yeah. Let us know, because we were interested here to know. It is a big brand name, and we'd be interested to know if your dog's having a reaction to it.
I'll try it again, and I'll give you a call back.
Thanks, Denise. Hi, Stacy. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you very much. I have a question about my 13-month Newfoundland. I have a dog. We got her about a year ago. In the last, maybe it was like 3 or 4 weeks ago, she was diagnosed with a torn cruciate ligament on her right hind leg. And about a week and a half later, the left leg went. So we're kind of devastated about it. But we took her to the vet, and he was recommending TPLO surgery for her.
Okay. Yeah.
And my question, though, is because she is a large breed, she's not overweight. She's in really good shape. In fact, she's probably on the thin side right now because she's not eating as well because she's in a lot of pain. It's a long recovery period, and I know I have to pretty much crate her most of the day after the surgery. And we have to kind of carry her in and out of the house because we have stairs everywhere to get in and out of our house. And then the other question, just to see if that's going to be kind of cruel for her, because they only can do the surgery one leg at a time. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing is I've been reading a lot that they end up developing arthritis a lot of the times after the surgery anyway. So I just kind of wanted to get your opinion on the subject.
Okay, sure. And ironically, I was just getting off the phone chatting with someone about their dog with cruciate disease who just had surgery. So very strange. But yes, with cruciate disease in dogs, yes, they will go on after surgical repair and have some arthritis. The problem is you have a baby here, and it would be a very different answer I would give you if you have a 12-year-old dog versus a 1 or 2-year-old dog. So because she is so young, I would definitely encourage you to have surgery done. And the TPLO is one of the best ways to manage a very large dog. And we kind of have to look at how these kind of injuries happen. And in dogs, it's somewhat related to the angles in their knee and the forces that are put on those major support ligaments in the knee. So the cruciate is the big one. And when that blows, we lose the major stability in that joint. So having both of those at such a young age, I think for longevity and use of her legs, that would be the better way to go. And I certainly would not advocate not doing surgery. That would be a last case scenario for that 12-year-old dog that I don't know that I want to put them through that surgery. And interestingly enough, when you said Newfoundland, there are certain breeds of dog that at a very young age are more prone for blowing out their cruciates, and sometimes both of them. And they tend to be Newfoundlands, among other breeds. Akitas, Labradors, Rottweilers are very common in this, because otherwise most vets will tell you, oh, that's unheard of. Young dogs don't get cruciate injuries, but it can happen, particularly in those breeds.
The only thing I don't know how much stress this was going to cause. We really never crated her past 5 months old. She was not a dog that liked to be in a crate. She did not like to be crate. She's pretty much my shadow. She loves to follow me everywhere around the house. And I'm just worried that for the months of recovery, and it's going to be about 2 months per leg, I'm thinking, how hard that's going to be for her.
And I'd have to say I'm probably a little bit more of a weenie when it comes to crating that long after this kind of surgery. Maybe the orthopedic specialist would say otherwise, but I think you could get away with less than that. Now, certainly we don't want her jumping and running, mostly so she doesn't hurt that other leg more. So I would get that we want to keep her quiet, but I usually don't have my post-cruciate patients crated for 2 months at a time after surgery. She's young, she's a puppy, so we do want to limit her activity, and crating may be important initially as she's healing, but a lot of times, we have to give them something to do, and just general activity around the house, as long as we're not jumping, slipping our legs, doing anything really crazy acrobatics. I'm usually fine with that kind of limited activity. Now, Sometimes we will sedate and use tranquilizers for post-op patients. And I'd say some of the more exuberant pets after this kind of surgery, I will do that. Although I find that some of the normal pet tranquilizers don't always work. So I'll kind of dabble in a little bit more exotic ones that may not have as much tolerance effect. But yeah, I would say I'm definitely a fan of having large breed and extra large breeds having that surgery done because it gives them the best support on that leg. And some dogs, the last dog I was just talking to the family, that dog started walking very quickly within a day or two after surgery because there's so much more support there than was previously. So I would give it that benefit.
You would. Now, is there any studies, especially with a larger breed? I know the smaller breeds and the medium breeds probably have less. I would think they would have a higher success rate just because they are less weight and they're smaller. But the larger breeds, like a Newfoundland, is there any studies about arthritis setting in, right after surgery or soon after surgery?
Well, I mean, I can guarantee you she's going to have some degree of arthritis, even if immediately if you corrected that, because there has been an insult within that joint. We would expect we'd see less arthritis over time if we don't have that chronic inflammation going on inside the joint. So if we don't have that damaged cartilage and the ligament flapping around inside the joint for longer periods of time, that kind of puts a little bit of perhaps a degree of arthritis that we might expect. So,
okay.
So,
all right.
Yeah,
well, thank you very much.
It's not avoidable.
That's very helpful.
Yeah, and it's certainly not avoidable. It means we're going to have some kind of chronic concerns for her.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think definitely with my giant doggies, this is definitely the way to go and getting them back on those legs. And, you may always be very cautious. You may use joint supplements and other things to kind of help support her joints.
Actually, I've already started it. I said, you know what, I'm going to just start. It probably isn't going to help right now, but it's not going to hurt. So I did.
Absolutely.
I started her on some glucosamine and so forth. So.
Very good. Okay, well, best wishes with everything, and I hope that turns out well for you and her, and thank you for your call.
Dogs or cats, horse or emu, animals are people too.
It was only meant to be a safety drill at a zoo, but dozens of children were left in tears after an escaped animal drill went all wrong. The idea was to test the readiness of the staff at a Tokyo zoo, and a well-intentioned practice drill based on a scenario of a strong wind blowing a tree into an enclosure, providing a way out for an orangutan. The overacting actor jumped out of the cage and began running around the zoo, scattering the crowds. The oranga actor grabbed an employee and was promptly shot with a fake tranquilizer gun. He dramatically fell to the ground, and that's when all the kids started crying. It took some time, but the staff was finally able to convince everyone that it was all an act. I'm Britt Savage for Animal Radio.
Animals are people too. Animal Radio.
How would you like to save money on nearly all your prescription drugs? We've set up a special toll-free number for the RX Outreach Program. They're a nonprofit company whose mission it is to make prescription drugs more affordable to the masses. They don't take insurance, and in many cases, your prescriptions are even cheaper than your co-pays. They carry thousands of different prescription drugs, so whatever you're taking, there's a good chance they have it. No coupons are required, and this is not a discount card. It is pure savings on your prescription drugs. They specialize in generic meds for any chronic health needs you have. Call with your prescription and find out for free how little you can pay for your prescription drugs. Remember, we don't take insurance, so call right now.
800-689-0143. 800-689-0143. 800-689-0143. That's 800-689-0143.
Hi, everybody. This is Frankie Avalon, and I love Animal Radio. Keep listening.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hi, Pepper. How are you?
I'm fine, and I want to tell you thank you so much for taking my call.
Well, of course, with such a pretty name. How did you get the name Pepper?
I eat about 5-gallon jar full of jalapeno peppers a week.
Oh, my.
That's
So
okay.
it's not your given name.
Likes them too.
See, the dog likes them too, huh?
All right.
Uh-huh.
Now, you don't have a regular name for the dog, do you?
Well, I named him Casper because he's white.
Casper.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on with Casper there?
Well, I have two dogs. One is a Havanese and one is a Bichon, Casper. I had Casper about 2 years, and I was making his own dog food, which it was ground turkey, brown rice, and I'd buy the bag of frozen vegetables and put it in there, and everything was going fine. I'm an over-the-road truck driver, let me tell you that first.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, he started getting, like, bladder infection, kidney infection. One right after another, right after another. And, I mean, it's not that I'm not taking him out and walking him. It's not that I'm not letting him walk long enough. I mean, every time I would go to the vet, it'd be like $350, $450 while they try to track this thing down. They treat it. They even went as far as to give me a prescription to take to Walgreens because he had to be on antibiotics for so long one time.
Okay.
And then he started chewing at his paws. And his paws turned real pinkish looking, and all around his mouth were real pinkish looking, and then he got another bladder infection. So I took him back to the vet. She said, well, she goes, this just isn't right. Now, this is when we were home just about every weekend. So she did some investigating, and she told me, she said, he needs to go, he's got a problem assimilating protein. And we need to put him on the urinary ISO.
Okay.
Well, I've got him on that. But I was just wondering if there is another alternative to it. Now, this dog begs for vegetables. He begs for vegetables. He loves vegetables.
All right. He's a dog with my mind.
Oh, listen, he loves jalapeno peppers, any kind of vegetable that you will give him. This
awesome.
Dog
now, I get
fruit you give him.
Well, hey. Now, I want to back up for a minute because you said with Casper that he was having a lot of urinary issues. Did they put him on that food because they determined he had types of bladder stones?
She didn't say bladder stones. She just said that he had a problem assimilating protein.
Okay. Just because when I hear about a Bichon who's having problems in the urinary nature, they're a breed very prone to bladder stones, and particularly calcium oxalate-based bladder stones. So one of the methods to deal with that is we will try a low-protein diet and the SO-type food, if that's the one that you're talking about, made by Royal Canin. That is appropriate for that kind of dog that has those kind of urinary issues, and it is a low-protein food. So if that's somehow related to his previous signs, then I would definitely endorse that, prescription basically for you. And
well, he hasn't had a problem since.
Well, there you go. Then it's doing something.
Well,
at least I'm speculating.
Well, now they've changed our company has changed our route, and I mean, sometimes it's anywhere from 2 to 4 months before we get home. And they changed it going down the road. So, and I realize this is a prescription dog food, and it's hard for me to get. Now, I am going home next weekend, and I do have a couple of cans and some dry that is going to make me get home. But if I get in a bind, is there anything else?
Well, the trick is there's probably some things that we can use short-term or treat foods that would be appropriate for a dog on this food. But I'm going to say it's a little hard to just pick a food that we're going to be able to substitute because this is a therapeutic food. It is basically gearing the urine into a certain environment so we can hopefully prevent those problems. Now, there are some treats that we can do. Oh, before I even get there, I was going to say, at least at my office and many veterinary offices around the country, they may have the option to order online for these prescription foods and to have those shipped to your home. So that might be something. We do that through something called a pet portal. So my clients can have that shipped to their front door so that they don't run out of this regular food. Because it is very much...
Well, I mean, my vet is only like 10 miles from me, and the problem is getting to my home city.
Okay.
Now that we're out here on the road.
Okay. Well, the things that we would definitely want to avoid, as you mentioned, a lot of the different meat things, many of those we will want to avoid. The things we can use in a pinch for a pet that's on a diet like SO would be eggs. We can use eggs or chicken. But we stay away from, a lot of the heavier meats. And you mentioned vegetables and fruits. And so there are some fruits and vegetables we can use that are appropriate along with this diet. I'll often recommend bananas, melons, green peas, cauliflower. Those kind of foods would be appropriate. And again, it's kind of
that broccoli, cabbage. He even eats turnip greens.
Oh, wow. So, some of those foods might not be a bad thing, but I would hate for you to be out on the road and rely on those food items as your main source of a diet. So,
when I go home, I'm going to buy the large bag, the super large bag, and I'm going to put probably about 30 pounds on the truck, so I won't be out. But it just caught me unawares this time, and
yeah. Now, one other solution that I might recommend, and we use this solution for folks around us that travel, is you can ask your veterinarian for either a prescription card or a written prescription for that food. And if you're heading through another community, and if you have a written prescription for that food, you may very well be able to buy that at a veterinary office. But you can't just go in and say, hey, I need that SO food. Most places will say, we're not comfortable selling that to you unless we know you really need this for your pet. So that might be another kind of little trick to try.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Admit it, you love your dog, and he is part of the family. So when choosing your next vacation, don't forget Fido. With just a little planning, the entire family can enjoy a road trip. To find the best vacation spot for Spot, subscribe to Fido Friendly, the travel and lifestyle magazine for you and your dog, where each issue includes hotel and destination reviews, where both you and Fido are welcome. Go online to FidoFriendly.com and find out what all the barking's about.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Tammy Trujillo. Petco has kept its promise. It's taken all the dog and cat treats made in China from the shelves of its stores nationwide. Last May, the chain became the first national pet retailer to say it would stop selling the treats after reports began showing up that Chinese-made treats were making animals sick and far worse. The move includes pet treats made for the Petco brand Unleashed and those sold online. Petco says it will now stock only treats made in the U.S. and other regions of the world that, quote, support complete pet health. When Pet Food Stamps, Inc. was formed, and it got attention from all over, including being featured on CNN, CBS, and ABC. Maybe that was too much publicity. The organization is now closed. Founder Mark Oken raised $65,000, and that was enough to handle the nearly 200,000 people who'd asked for help. He resigned last April, saying he was overwhelmed with applications from people needing help paying for food for their pets. Control went to a man named Greg Sullivan, and he's now closed the program. He said he never could get over the negative image the group had gotten before he started. The New York Attorney General's office reported numerous consumer complaints have been filed against Pet Food Stamps and that an investigation's underway. Sullivan recently posted pictures on the group's Facebook page showing a professional shredding company that he wrote took care of the applicants' materials, and donations, he said, were either returned to the senders or used to provide pet food to applicants. This has got to be one of the saddest stories ever. It comes out of Scotland, where somebody left a male Shar-Pei mix at a railway station with a suitcase full of his belongings. The dog is named Kai, and he was left with his leash tied to a rail and his suitcase beside him. His bowl, some food, a pillow, and a toy were inside his suitcase. Now, Kai did have a microchip, and that's how they found out what his name was. But when they contacted the owner, he said he'd sold Kai in 2013 and couldn't give the name or address of who he sold him to. Now, since the stories broke, there is a happy ending here. The animal welfare group taking care of Kai says it has been inundated with offers to adopt him and his suitcase, which is fantastic. But authorities still want to find that person who left Kai at the station. That person could be charged under Scotland's Animal Health and Welfare Act. People found guilty are banned from keeping animals for a period of time or even for life. I'm Tammy Trujillo. Get more breaking animal news anytime at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
Well, don't forget you can get your fix of Animal Radio anytime you want with the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. Download it now, why don't you? It's made possible by Fear-Free Happy Homes, helping your pets live their happiest, healthiest, fullest lives at home, at the vet, everywhere in between. Visit them now at fearfreehappyhomes.com. And thanks, Fear-Free, for underwriting Animal Radio.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Okay, you're going to love our next guest, Pamela Paquin, and she does something very unusual for a living. She creates clothing and, glamorous kind of upscale clothing using Roadkill, and I welcome her to the show. Hi, Pamela. How are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you.
So give me the 411. What is it exactly you do?
Sure. So there are 1 million animals a day killed on the roads in the United States. That's roughly 7 times the amount killed in the entire global fur industry every year. So 365 million a year on our roads and 50 million a year in the global fur industry.
Wow.
I'm a former sustainability professional, obviously. There was some significance to that number, and when I moved back from Europe, with my daughter, I was feeling very sensitive and loving, obviously, as a new mom, and remembered all these bodies that I'd seen growing up in New England. And it really moved me. I really got tired of driving by them. And I had grown up on a farm, so I had had a lot of experience working with animals and a sense of integrity about being a part of your food. That really I felt that I needed to be a part of the raising, the humane raising and loving care of animals as well as slaughter. So I came home with that and my newfound motherhood and really felt that I couldn't drive by anymore. And also being a new mom, I couldn't travel the way that I had before. So I thought, well, maybe now's the time to try this out. So I went and got a license, and I found a taxidermist to help me and picked up a raccoon that, as it turned out, was a little too ripe.
What kind of a license do you have to have?
Sure. So it varies state to state. So, for example, in Florida, you can just pick up roadkill, and you don't need a license. Where I was living at the time was in New Hampshire. I needed what is called a fur buyer's license, and I was there last winter, so I had that. And then I moved to Massachusetts, where my family's from, to be closer to them, and I actually need a trapper's license because, of course, there's no such thing as somebody who collects roadkill and turns it into furs.
Okay, and what kind of clothing do you make out of them?
Sure. So I only collected 100 animals last year. I'm really focused on my accountability and transparency right now on the operational side. And that means that I'm working with highway departments, animal control officers, and wildlife officers. And given that I was building up the infrastructure at the same time as working on the sourcing and prototyping the pieces, I only had 100 animals that I collected last year. And to that end, I'm only making accessories. This is neck muffs, mittens, hats, leg warmers, that sort of thing. And they're all made to order specifically for clients. So in that sense.
So I'm going to be the devil's advocate here. I mean, as far as someone who doesn't believe in the fur industry, how do you see your role as in answer to some of my questions of, isn't this encouraging other people to want to wear fur?
Absolutely. So, again, much like coal power is not encouraged by the use of solar power companies, we as a sustainability movement, as a conscious species, we're attempting to move away from unsustainable practices. Of course, there are short-term goals and there are long-term goals. So we're trying to transition to solar power and get ourselves unhooked from petroleum, which, of course, powers everything from our cars to the heat in our house to charging our cell phones. So we're all a part of that, including the transportation of goods on the roads that kill the animals. So we're all guilty. And I would just say, much like cruelty-free makeup or fair trade that doesn't support child labor, my fur doesn't support the intentional killing of animals.
I kind of like that answer.
It's the consumer's responsibility to educate themselves, just as it is with the difference between organic or GMO, coal or solar, and so on.
I see that some of your pieces sell for about $1,000. There's a lot of work put into that, so I understand that. What is the general reaction? Do people like wearing roadkill? What do they...
Do they know?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's very interesting, actually. It's a very interesting story. When I'm in New Hampshire, and I make my prototypes, and I start wearing them around New Hampshire where I was living. Everybody just it didn't faze them. Of course, they're very sensible. If a deer is hitting the roads up there, it's gone within a matter of minutes. People eat it. It was no skin off their back to accept it. No problem. I came down to Boston and started going to private events, and people were very interested. They wanted to touch it. And then when I told them the story, which, of course, I was testing the market, and these are very kind of tended to be affluent people with disposable income, basically their eyes would roll back in their head. They would get very excited, and they had a million questions, and, quite a few of them ended up being my first clients. People were really excited. They were so pleased, not only because of the tactile, sensual, and luxurious nature of the product, but that they could get it and understand this animal, to honor its spirit, to respect it in some way, instead of, like every other animal product that they consume, be it food or leather or fur, that they have to disassociate themselves from what that animal lived. This is a wild and free animal. It had a tragic accident, and now it can be a part of their lives, and they can do it respectfully.
Wow.
So are they wearing like possum and raccoon, and I mean, what are some of the odd creatures that people have worn?
Yeah, no, I mean, people that for centuries, beaver was the reason that the fur industry started over here. And then something else, I think it was silk, became popular, and people stopped being so focused on beaver. This was hundreds of years ago. I use beaver, I use bear. Fisher is essentially American sable. I use skunk, but much less frequently. Raccoon is very popular because it's so fluffy. And, of course, coyote is very similar to a lot of the petroleum-based synthetic furs that you see around the edges of people's hoods that's so popular right now.
I think it's funny. We're all like dumbfounded here in the studio. What's the website? Where can people learn more and even get some of this?
Sure. So it's petitemortfur.com. Petite Mort Fur. So, yes, it's with an E at the end of petite. But if you Google Petite Mort Fur or something like it, or my name, Pamela Paquin, it's going viral all over the world right now, so you'll find me.
Oh, well, this right here will shoot you over the edge, this appearance on Animal Radio.
Well, I just, no, but seriously, in all seriousness, I've reached out to PETA, I've reached out to the Anti-Fur Society, I've also reached out to the International Fur Federation and the American Fur Council, because as far as I see it, we've got to do this together. Demonizing people on either end of the spectrum is not going to get us very far. If I want to change the paradigm of how we source fur, I have to be able to include everybody. Those are the voices against fur and the voices for fur. So when I heard from your station, I was very pleased because, of course, everybody has to be a part of this if it's going to work. And at the same time, when we look at it, there's a $40 billion a year industry globally. If people really cared in enough numbers, then raising fur on fur farms would be illegal. And that's not been the case in the United States. And the fur industry has only grown.
Definitely intriguing. We're going to put links to all of your stuff over at animalradio.com. Pamela, thank you so much for telling me what you're doing over there, and keep us posted, will you?
Absolutely. Stay in touch, you guys. Thank you so much.
Let's head back to the phones. Tell us what you think. I don't know. Dr. Debbie, would you wear a raccoon around your neck? Could be your next...
No, I couldn't.
I'm torn there.
How would you like to get a free smartphone? If you own a smartphone, listen to this incredible offer that's almost too good to be true. Right now, you can switch your plan and get service with us for as little as $2 a day. Guaranteed for life. Plus, get a free smartphone every year. Call the free smartphone hotline now and we'll move your number from your existing service. Think of your savings. So don't wait. Switch your plan, save money, plus get a free smartphone every year. Call the free smartphone hotline right now. We guarantee you're going to love our service. If you don't like what we say, you can hang up on us. But you won't. Right now, you can switch your plan and get service with us for as little as $2 a day. Guaranteed for life. Call the free smartphone hotline right now. 800-475-3351. 800-475-3351. 800-475-3351. That's 800-475-3351.
This is
Animal Radio, baby. You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
We have Patricia on the phone. Hi, Patricia.
Hi.
How are you?
Oh, very well, but I have a question, two questions that are kind of eluding me right now.
Okay.
With cats.
Hey, sounds challenging. Let's go.
Oh, good. Okay. I have indoor cats, and I do a lot of, now and then cat rescue, and I decided to let two of the rescued ferals stay in my backyard. And so the first question is, one of them, I was told, I actually took them from a rescue group, and I was told that one of them may have maybe FIV positive. Okay. And now she has turned into a little love bug, and she wants to come in. And she comes up to me and rubs all over me and practically lets me pick her up. So I'm guessing she was somebody's pet and kind of reverted to a feral mindset. And now that she's had a place to be settled and good people taking care of her, she's going back to being friendly. But when I open the door, she tries to run in. And
she knows what's good, man. She's on her way.
She did. Thank you. Couldn't have said that better. And so what would it be a bad idea to let her come in if there is an FIV positive test? And the other piece I'll throw on there is that I heard that if they have had a vaccine for FIV, that their test may come up positive, but I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, and that kind of comes to like why we have the suspicion of FIV, which is also really known as feline immunodeficiency virus. So it's similar to kind of like the HIV virus in humans. So FIV in cats, yes, we can get some false positives basically from a cat that's previously been vaccinated. Now there's reasons why people vaccinate, and this is just a side note, tends to be more in shelter cats that are in high cat volume situations. It's not a real routine situation. So if we do get a positive test, there are some confirming tests we can do to kind of reassure us if we may have that or not.
Okay, and this one was rescued from a shelter. Both of these were.
Okay. So I guess the big thing is, what's the risk with bringing this kitty into the home? Well, for FIV, it's typically spread through bite wounds between cats. So cats that live outdoors, that kind of have that fighting lifestyle, especially the male intact cats, they're the number one carriers of FIV. And in fact, 4% of outdoor feral cats are positive for FIV.
4%?
So,
wow.
Yeah. So if you want to make this kitty an indoor cat and you have existing cats, there's a slight risk of acquiring that inside the home. Now, if they fight and this cat bites yours, absolutely, we can contract FIV that way. But through casual contact, drinking out of the same water bowl, grooming behaviors, there's really not a high risk of transmission of the virus, fortunately.
Yeah, agree.
So that's a good thing. Now, any FIV positive cat, if they're a pet, I definitely recommend to keep them indoors so we can help decrease the exposure to other cats outside. So, this might be a dual win-win in, not only rescuing this cat, but helping save some of those other ferals out there from becoming FIV positive if they're not already.
Yeah.
But, there's that slight risk for your kitty. So I would say, you kind of have to recognize that and know your cats and see how they interact. Whether or not this is a risk you'd want to take.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate the information. Now I feel like I can make an informed decision.
Good luck with that. I know how tough it is with ferals. We've brought in a few ferals ourselves.
Thank you.
Which one are we going to? Oh, hey, Ronald, how you doing?
Okay, how you doing today?
Doing good. Where are you?
Montgomery, Pennsylvania.
Montgomery, Pennsylvania, checking in. I have Dr. Debbie here. How can we help you?
Hi.
Yes. Hi. I have a young Doberman Pinscher, and I'm an over-the-road truck driver. And while my wife was sick one week, he went with me, and now he thinks he wants to go every week. But I was wondering, being Dobermans have a history of hip problems, if putting him in the truck, even with walking him, regularly through the day, if it would cause any problems with that.
Oh, whether or not the traveling in the truck would hasten or make a bigger problem with potential hip dysplasia. That's your question?
Yes.
No, I don't believe that would. And in this situation, the only thing that I'd say sitting in the truck might have a potential for would be less exercise. So we wouldn't want his weight to get too heavy. So it would be more that risk. But no, hip dysplasia, what we would worry about sometimes is if a pet is in very active athletic activities, and if they have some tendencies towards hip dysplasia, then we might have some more issues there. But no, sitting in the truck, hanging out with his dad, I think that's a great great plan. And, just to combat any kind of boredom or problems with his exercise, if he's in truck, you want to just make sure you give him that ample opportunity for physical exercise, a little bit of mental stimulation. So, maybe some retrieving, some toy play behaviors when you make your stops. All of that will kind of keep him physically fit. And I don't see any problems with riding along with your side. If he likes it, then hey.
Looks like you got the A-OK, Ronald.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Thank you for your call today. Was that really 2 hours? Wow, that blew by today. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember, you can ask your questions all week long from the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. It's a free download. Do it right now. Download it, and then if, like, at 2 in the morning you have a question about your cat, you can ask directly from the iPhone app or the Android app. By the way, Dr. Debbie, if you want to pick up her books, Yorkshire Terriers, Shih Tzus, Pugs, or Mini Schnauzers, How to Be Your Dog's Best Friend, they are available at Kindle at Amazon, and we have links over at animalradio.com. If you own one of these, or let's say they own you, you'll want to pick up this Guardian's Manual. We'll see you next week for more Animal Radio right on this fine station.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
This is Animal Radio Network.